so give it to me that.
When you come around, I know you want it. I lose my mind. Can't control my emotions.
What's going on, YouTube community, music fans? Once again, it's your host, Arachnid Soul, intellectual, voracious, and passionate about whatever the hell I'm passionate about today. As always, I'm very excited today. I have Fuka, an up-and-coming singer. Fuka, what's going on?
Nothing much, just really excited.
Now, Fuka's doing her very first web interview with me, which is so awesome. She's on the Immaculate Soul independent record label. I actually went to college with the CEO of Immaculate Soul, your manager, when she's really awesome. She's the one who arranged this, and she said to me, listen, this singer is really good. Can you have her on YouTube channel? The first thing I said to her was, I need to hear her first. I need to see if she's really good because I don't want to tell my followers and my subscribers, hey, give this girl some time, check her out if she has no talent. So I listened to you and I was actually I was impressed. You're really good.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your backstory. You're living in New York now. You're living in New York City, but where did you actually grow up?
I grew up in a little city called East Palo Alto in California.
So pretty much the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yep, right. It's like really close to San Francisco.
Okay.
And San Jose.
So, and how old were you when you really started singing?
I was really young, but I was never like open about it or, told anyone what I really wanted to do, but I started at a really young age.
Okay, I mean, was it the fact that maybe you didn't have people in your family who would support that kind of thing? Is that why you kept it to yourself?
That's exactly why. And because at that time, and even now, you don't see too many Polynesian artists out there. So I really had no one to look to, like, oh, that person is doing it, so I can do it, So that's kind of what kept me, discreet about it.
Now, when we talk about your Polynesian background, I mean, you're a little bit of everything. I read your bio. You've got, like, people in your family who are Swiss and everything, but the really strong influence genetically is Samoan and Tongan, right?
Yeah.
Now, I know, like, a lot of Samoan people and a lot of Tongan people. I was telling you this before we went on the air because I never like to do, like, pre-interviews. We didn't do a pre-interview. We actually avoided talking about anything on here. But we had some tech difficulties in setting things up. And I was telling you, I'm sorry, I'm talking to the audience now. I was telling you that the Samoan people, I believe, while they can handle themselves better than anyone else on the planet if they need to, they're also the nicest people.
Very friendly.
Okay, so let me talk to you about your influences. Who kind of led the way for you in terms of, hey, I want to be a singer?
Well, my uncle introduced me to R&B music, and he played Mariah Carey's album for me, and that's honestly, that same day is exactly when I knew that I wanted to be a singer. So,
do you remember which Mariah Carey song it was?
It was Always Be My Baby.
Okay, I was going to say, was it Butterfly? I remember when that Butterfly CD came out, and my friend gave it to me and it had the butterfly on there. And it was like, I kind of listen to Pantera and Metallica, but thanks. I do recognize her talent. Okay,
yes.
Well, we can't do this interview unless we talk about when, the girl that I went to college with and kind of your manager and the CEO of the label. How exactly did you meet her?
I met her through a mutual friend, actually. We were, me and her, she's my neighbor, so we were going to the gym to sign up, to try to get in shape and for the summer, and me for my music. So we went to the gym, and when they called one of the membership trainers down, so when she came down, they both recognized each other because they used to go to school together, but they went to school, I guess, when they were like 16, but they recognized each other. And then she asked her if she's still writing, and Wynn said yes, and then that's when my friend was like, oh, well, she sings. So that's kind of how we met. It was unexpected, but I'm very glad that it happened.
Yeah, I mean, there was a really interesting story how I met her in college. I mean, we pretty much had all of the same classes at the same time. She was pretty much in all of my courses. I'm going to save that story for another day. I'm going to save that for when you come back and we're not doing the "Hi, this is Fuka" introduction interview. Let me ask you something, though. You're from the other side of the country. You're from California, like I said. You're living in New York. Tell me a little bit about how that journey came and why you left California for the East Coast.
It was always something that was in my heart to do. I can't really explain why, but after high school, I moved back to California because my family moved to Utah. So they're still there right now. And I moved back to California when I was 18, which was 4 years ago, and it didn't work out for me there. So then I tried Vegas, and Vegas didn't work. So then the plan was to come to check out New York, and I was just supposed to be here for 1 week, and it turned into staying here, and that's how I ended up here. I just felt in my heart that I needed to be here.
Right. I mean,
So I went with that.
that's really awesome. So you pretty much, you had dreams, you realized you were living in a place where you might not be able to fulfill them.
Right.
So you traveled a little bit. Vegas wasn't quite working for you. I know how that is. I know how it is to be stuck in Vegas, and you have that mentality of, okay, I can make a nice living here, but if I don't get out of here now, I'm never going to get out.
Yeah.
Okay, so you moved to New York. I've lived in New York. I know it's a hustle out there. It's hard to find a place. It's hard to make rent. And also from reading your bio, you don't really have to go into anything you're not comfortable talking about, but can you tell us a little bit about some of those struggles when you first arrived in Big Apple?
Oh, honestly, it was the hardest year of my life. It was difficult because when I came here, like I said, it wasn't planned, but it happened, so I just went along with it, and I was trusting my gut feelings and trusting my heart. So when I first came here, it was difficult finding work at first because I'd really only had experience in like call center jobs, and then the interviews out here, it was kind of like they were looking for, you know, certain stereotype or, you know, and I didn't really fit that. I guess you know, my tattoos didn't help.
Right.
So that was kind of difficult. And then like just experiencing my cousin came with me, and she ended up going back.
Okay.
And that was hard for me when she left. So, you know, I was alone, and I was thousands of miles away from my family, and that was hard too because, you know, as a Polynesian person, everything revolves around family for us. Like it's a big part of our lives, and that's all I knew. So when I came here and I was by myself, it was scary. I ended up living the hotel. I booked in advance, so we only had a week to be in the hotel. And when that week was over, I was like, I need to find a place or I'm gonna be on the street. So I took the first place that came, which was the Projects in Harlem, and I lived there. And it was like an in-house production company that was the guy who rented the room. He did music, like he was involved with music too. So we started working together, and it didn't work out just because he was, you know, too forward in his approach, and he had, you know, some problems, some issues, and we never were able to overcome them. So that was hard too. I just been meeting I met a lot of people last year, and it really did seem like they all just, you know, they didn't take me serious as an artist. They would just try to use music as a way to get something from me, you know.
Okay, now let me ask you, let me cut you off there. Okay, so you're talking about you're living with this guy. He's not the best guy, and the people that you're finding that might be able to help you, maybe they either can't help you or they can, but they're looking for something else. They're not helping you. Were there any people that you found that were supportive?
Okay, well, when I was staying with him, I did meet some friends that it was this one guy who owned a record store. Like it was like mainly like reggae music, you know, dance hall music. He was a DJ, and I met him. I remember just going in because I was just looking around because I heard them playing some reggae music, and I grew up to reggae music, so I went in to see what they were, you know, selling in there, and he kind of befriended me and kind of like I remember him always telling me that I can come and, you know, hang out there, because I told him what was going on at the house that I was living at. So he always used to tell me to come and, you know, like just like a home kind of like environment. And I would just go to the shop, and me and him would just watch TV. Like all the friends would come in the shop, you know, women, children, everyone. And they were from Africa. So they were like, we would watch, you know, movies from their country, which a lot of the culture is similar to the Polynesian culture, which was funny to me.
Right.
And we would watch basketball games, and I would always like cheer against the New York teams because I knew that would piss them off. And, you know, it was just, that was a blessing because I had like a place to escape when things were getting too hard for me, staying where I was at. And they would like feed me with the, you know, the peanut butter sauce and all the traditional foods. So that was great. And that was, I need to pay them a visit.
Okay, so before we get too far into the interview, I just want to remind everybody, this is Fuka. She's a new singer. She's been invited here today. She's telling her story. Let me ask you, you've got a single coming out, and that's coming out at pretty much the end of this month, as in terms of when this is going to air. It's called Overwhelmed. What can you tell us about this single?
Oh, this single, it has like a really fresh new vibe to it. It's a dance song for the clubs, you know, or, you know, it's like just talking about how you have that attraction immediately to someone you see, you know. There's certain people that give you that vibe, and that's what the song is about.
Okay.
So it's aggressive, but it's a good song.
And then later on in the year, in June, you have the full LP coming out.
Yeah.
Okay, now what can we expect from this original? This is, you know, this is your freshman album, right? You're gonna try to put out a certain vibe. You're gonna say, "Hi, this is Fuka, yours truly," like you always do. What can we expect from that album?
That album is just a mix to kind of show off the skills that I do have, that I'm able to, you know, play around with any type of genre, really. I don't like to limit myself and just say that I'm this, you know, or I just do R&B or I just do pop, but I have like a really broad range of music that I can do. So that's basically what the EP is, and I'm just really excited to share that with everyone because it's been a long time coming. So.
Right, and let me ask you something. You said you were a little bit afraid to share your dreams with some of the people, you know, your friends in your immediate family growing up. Are you sharing the dreams with them now? Are you telling them what's going on, or are you waiting for that LP or that single to drop first?
I'm definitely sharing now. I've been mentally preparing for this, so now it's like whether you like it or not, basically I'm gonna, you know, bring what I can to the table, and this is really happening for me. So whether, you know, because for Polynesians, it's kind of like the mindset is not, you know, I hate to say it, but, you know, like as far as like dreaming big, you know, or I mean, it's been more popular now, but like just like when I first moved here and everyone was kind of like, what are you doing? You know, like you need to come back, stop acting like that, stop playing, you know. And I didn't have too much support, like very little, if any.
Okay, now let me ask you something else. You talked about growing up out in California. When you're growing up out in California and you're Polynesian, and I know this from knowing a lot of Tongan and Polynesian people, it's almost assumed, maybe not in your family, but in a lot of families, it's almost assumed that pretty soon out of high school, you're going to settle down, you're going to meet a nice guy, you're going to get married, maybe start the family life. Was that something that was put on the table for you? And if so, how did you react to that?
That was definitely something that was on the table for me. And like you said, it is very common within our people to, you know, get married and start a family at a relatively young age. But for me, I was going to get married right after high school, which was the year 2010. So I was already in the process of getting married. I was engaged. I had the wedding dress. We had the day set up. We had everything like was already in order to, but a month before I had to cancel.
And let me ask you, why exactly did you cancel?
I had to cancel because it wasn't sitting well in like with me. I couldn't figure out why I was, you know, so hesitant to marry him, because I really did love him. I was in love with him. And I was like, why is this not working? Like, why am I not happy? So at the back of my mind, my brother was visiting for my high school graduation from California. He was visiting, and we went to drop him off at the airport. And when we were at the airport, something clicked in me that you're supposed to be traveling, you know, you're supposed to be doing music, because like I kind of like, you know, over the years as I was growing up, I kind of, you know, tried to throw that passion of mine aside because it was like silly to other people. So when that happened, when we went to the airport, and then that very same day I called him and told him that I had to cancel because I wanted to pursue my dreams.
Right. Well, I mean, that's pretty awesome. That's something a lot of people wouldn't have the courage to do. Not only pursue their dreams, but I mean, also you've got your families waiting. They're expecting this wedding.
Right.
To break that off and then move to the other side of the country where you know no one, and kind of try to make your own way in, you know, almost the city that's kind of the world capital of the planet. You know,
right.
And it's awesome that you're being able to do this. And not only are you, you know, involved with the music, but also in promoting the music. I understand that you have a photo shoot coming up soon.
I do. I have a photo shoot coming up on the 10th of May, so I'm excited for that. I've been, you know, hitting the gym and just preparing myself for that, and getting the stylist, talking to the stylist, and getting everything ready for that day.
Right. I mean, 2014, it's kind of a year of a lot of firsts for you then.
It is. It's definitely a year of firsts for me. Like everything for me has been, I've already done them in my head a million times, you know, but it's different when it's actually happening. Like, I can't explain the happiness that I have, you know, just to be able to have this opportunity and really come full effort, like 100%.
Right. Now, let me ask you something else, because I have no idea. I mean, I'd like to think I have a lot of talents. One of them is not singing, and you will never hear me sing. I understand you're going to be putting the finishing touches on a lot of songs that are going to be on the LP pretty soon. You're going to be back in the studio. How do you psych yourself up and get prepared to go in there? Because you know everything you do, it's like, this is the day. I've got to give it my all. How do you do that?
Right. And because with the with the studio, and, you know, I know that everything, money is, you know, money is time. So I always do make sure that when I go into anything, whether it's the photo shoots or the studio or whatever it is, even with this interview, for me, I'm a very spiritual person, so I do a lot of praying and a lot of fasting.
Okay. All right, that's really cool. I'm going to cut this off now just because I think we've covered a lot of stuff. We've given them a lot of things to think about.
Right.
Okay, if you want to follow her on Facebook, if you want to follow her on Twitter, her information has been on the screen the whole time. We're going to have it in the description. Please check her out. We're going to have some music playing. If you like what you hear, go over there to her YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. It's Fuka. She's an up-and-coming artist. I'd like to thank you for joining me, Fuka.
Thank you.
And once again, guys and girls, it's been your host, Arachnid Soul, intellectual, voracious, and passionate about whatever I'm passionate today about. As always, thank you guys, and thank you also, Fuka. Good night.
Good night.
Give it to me, girl. When you come around, I lose my mind.